Hi, I am Ashley. I'm the technical director at Simplestream, and I'm here to talk today about our app platform and how we use our partner's OVP service to enrich our existing OTT platform. So it's going to be a quick 15-minute chat, mostly to give an overview of our app platform, which is the product that we offer, the technical integrations that we are doing with our partners in order to utilize their services, and a couple of case studies as to what we've been doing in the past 12 months. To start with, what is the Simplestream app platform? In short, it is a set of hundreds of templates that are used across every single platform that we develop for. So these can be for mobile devices, they can be for big screens, Fire TV, Android TV, etc., or hybrid HBB TV apps that we've done in the UK and across Europe. And all of them have the same set of templates and frameworks to allow you to have your brand in a very similar fashion across those systems. And in short, the way that Simplestream works with this is we have a front end, which is our app platform, and then we have a back end CMS service as well. So our backend media manager system is where we have all of the content. It's where we have authentication if you're using it. It tells you what your playlists look like. It tells you exactly whether or not you're going to have series or whether or not you're going to have live channels. And all of this is driven by numerous different APIs. And the front end applications across all the platforms take those APIs and then build and render that app so that it looks great with any of the branding and the content that you have. Now, what we have found in the past 12 months, and probably a little bit longer than that, is that at the moment, most users within the OTT space do already have their own OVP, so their own online video platform. And it has been difficult for a lot of customers to try and move away. This might be because you have lots of different migrations that you then have to do. It might be because you already have video storage and you don't want to duplicate it. And what we've been trying to do in the past year is to resolve that and make it a lot easier for our customers and even sometimes ourselves. So what do I mean when I'm talking about an OVP agnostic solution? What I'm saying is that our backend media manager system, which historically has been used for the management of content as well, can now be used with lots of different partners as well. What this means is that your content owners don't need to train on a brand new system to learn how our backend works if they don't want to. You don't have to duplicate storage in the case that you're going to have it in multiple locations in the cloud or on premise. You're not doing a long-winded and complicated migration, and you can still have those partnerships that you already have with your providers and just include us as part of that team. We utilize the OVP partnerships that you already have and provide numerous different technical ways to integrate with each of those. Now, where our media manager system has always housed the encoding and the playback and the metadata of content, it can still absolutely do that. But what it can now also do is it can be used as an orchestration layer, managing all of those incoming sources and still transforming them to the inputs for all of our applications. So no matter where your video sits, it still looks great and it still looks as part of the platform as it always has done in the end products. Of course, that's not necessarily as easy as it is said than done. With the OVPs that we worked with, they're all different, which is absolutely fine. What we try and do is to integrate with different video partners, understand what they're doing, and understand how we fit into that piece of the puzzle. So in some cases, we are still doing all of the background technical work. We're encoding, we're transcoding, we're packaging, we're encrypting, and providing the level of content security that you've always come to expect. In other cases, we're just taking CDN links from one of our upstream providers and passing that directly on. What are the common ways that this is being integrated with? I think there's about three, and I'm going to go and break down each one of those. So the first one is APIs. Now, In short, an API is just a programmatic way of asking a system what information they have, and then being returned that information in different brackets. In most cases, for online video platform APIs, this is about 3. So we always make sure that we authenticate with a service to make sure that we have the right content and the content that you're expecting to be ingested. Then we have all of the metadata. So when it comes to ingesting video, the way that we make it really rich and informative to the user is to include, your titles, your descriptions, but also your genres, your keywords, your actors, and all of that can be input. As part of that second API, the metadata, there's usually an identifier for the content, and that content identifier is then passed on to a third and final API, which returns the streaming URLs. And the streaming URLs, again, as before, can include a location where we can download the content or straight for the playback. The second way that we use quite often is MRSS feeds. So MRSS feeds are a flatter format. They have a breakdown using an XML syntax to list out all of the content, again, with all of the metadata, but then also the URLs directly in that feed as well. And those URLs, similar as before, can be to download directly or to use the CDN links. Thirdly, and lastly, for part of this discussion, is storage ingest. So this is where your content might be stored elsewhere, but there's no endpoint or MRSS feed to obtain it. In this case, what we do is we work with the teams to create standard ingest paths and then take that path and input it into our system. So this is especially the case when you're not trying to duplicate content. All we're looking to do is synchronize that with our media manager orchestration and then include that. And usually in those cases, we will also do your packaging, your encryption, and your playback as part of that CDN distribution as well. What I've gone over very, very briefly is just the ways that we are working with OVPs and partnerships. It's not just this that we've been working on in the past 12 months. We've also expanded our system to use other third-party services that you might already be using for exactly the same reasons. It's difficult to migrate in some cases, and it's difficult to train up teams and employees on new tools. And we want to be the part of the puzzle rather than trying to make you completely empty out all the puzzle pieces and have a brand new solution to start with. Just a few examples of this are using existing analytical services, using your existing ad providers, and then in some cases as well, using origins and low latency streaming in order to be able to play back content quickly without having to go through our process as well. And this is what we're going to continue to do throughout the year and throughout into 2022, is increasing those partnerships and allow it to be easier for you to pick up our solutions as part of your greater marketplace. Finally, I just wanted to talk about a couple of case studies. So I very quickly talked about how all of these solutions worked and what we've been doing in the past 12 months, and I think it's worthwhile applying this to some real life scenarios. The first of which is Craftsy. As you may or may not know, Craftsy is a crafting service predominantly in North America with loads of content about knitting, sewing, cooking. And with those guys, they have their content in Brightcove and Brightcove's sister product as well, Beacon. What we worked with them on is to utilize the Brightcove APIs, as I mentioned before, to get all of the rich metadata, get all of the content, but still use their streaming to be able to play back. So the content does not go through our packaging and encryption. And instead, we're utilizing the Brightcove CDN URLs and their tokenization as well. So they have rotational tokenization to be able to play back content. And they also give us MP4 links. And what that means is that if a user wants to download a knitting class, they absolutely can do. And we use a different link from Brightcove in order to be able to take that content in as well. So seamlessly and part of the app platform without having to go through our video workflow. Finally, Little Dot Studios. Again, as you may or may not know, Little Dot Studios is made up of several channels, real stories, real crime, really great, interesting content in there. For their service, all of their content is currently hosted and managed by Amagi, who we have several integrations with. For Amagi, what they do is they provide an MRSS feed of each individual channel. Those MRSS feeds then include the CDN links, as well as an organization and order to the content that we get as well. And what we do is we take the most recently modified date to utilize that as a delta, and on a bi-hourly basis, ingest that MRSS feed, make sure that it stays up to date, and again, display that content out to users that are using the application seamlessly from an upstream OVP provider. So hopefully that's been really informative. Like I say, a quick walkthrough of what we're doing, how we're utilizing upstream OVP providers, as well as still offering out everything that's come to be expected as part of the features of Media Manager and our app platform. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.